Hey, welcome to Bears Banner. My name is Bernard Muhammad. Tonight, you got Jay Beasley, Guy Moore. Plank may be on. We're not sure. He's feeling a little bit under the weather. And I think Tammy's back from the Fiji, ain't she? Or wherever she was at.
Kicking it, kicking it, kicking it. Happy birthday again, First Lady.
Yeah, happy birthday, First Lady. Yeah, I think she jumped into the decade with us now.
Yes,
Oh
yeah.
man.
She on the other side. Yeah, she on the other side. That's how I know. That's
All
how I
right.
know. We still rocking it, so it's cool.
All right. She's on the side of the number when it start going downhill.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Hey, guy, how was Jamaica, man? I see you sporting your Jamaica shirt. How was that? I know you went a few weeks ago.
Everything was irie, Me no smoke the cushion ping or the lamb's bread or nothing like that, but me drink plenty of red stripe and some of that wagwan, why you call it? The Bumba, you know what, Jamaica 62. Man, it was great, man. It's great getting away. There's nothing like going to an environment where nobody's in a hurry to go anywhere and it's infectious. It's a real, I tell you, man, you don't realize how stressed out the United States is. You go somewhere
Absolutely,
and I come back here, man, I felt like a boneless chicken still.
Hmm.
absolutely, absolutely. Everybody in a hurry. Everybody in a hurry.
Hey, before we get to the Bears and Saints, hey, what's on y'all mind tonight?
I know people don't want to hear this another show, but I got to give some condolences to the Knight family. I got Bobby Knight transitioning the other day. He's a legend regardless of any sport that you play. But outside of that, we got some guys out. It's going to be interesting today, man. I mean, well, Sunday is going to be interesting. So,
Okay.
I,
Anything
I,
on
I nothing really. Just the NFL in general. Like I said, last week, I watched the Steelers and the Titans last night.
mhm.
It was the only thing on that I wanted to watch, so I watched it. I wasn't impressed. Uh, I I can say I'm impressed with Mike Tomlin because he's one of those coaches that do a lot with a little. And the Steelers are a bad football team, but they 5-3. Um, they have a point differential of over 100, and it's just like
Mm.
how are they winning these football games. So I was very unimpressed with the game last night, but the Steelers won. I had it on my pool, so I'm okay with that. But outside of that, it's again, like I said last week and the week before that, you got five good teams, five bad teams, and 22 teams in the middle.
And that's coaching. You know what? That brother, man, he should be protected at all costs, man. I got nothing but big ups for that dude, man. I mean, Tomlin's been around forever. And like I said, this team is like a fraction of what their playoff teams have been, man. And he's 5-3. And now on to the Bears.
Okay. Yeah, you know what? One thing I have on my mind is the Bears fans. I guess I'm about to say it again. Pump your brakes on when we want to do all these things kind of premature. Uh, Bears. Bears are no different than a lot of organizations that are struggling. Right? When you struggle, people get impatient and everybody want to be GMs. We not GMs. I mean, I may have my opinion on stuff, but we're not GMs. Hey, let this stuff kind of play itself out and let's see what happened as the year go on. So anyway, with that, man, the Bears had some news this week. I mean, you had a coach that the running back coach was let go this week. So this
Mm.
second staff member that was lost. The other one, even though technically he was not fired, he resigned. The defensive coordinator resigned. He wasn't actually fired, but he resigned. But whatever reason it was, this is the second staff member that's been removed from the staff this season. Do y'all think that plays any effect on this, or what? I mean, what's going on at Hallis Hall?
I don't think it plays. I think it plays an effect just because they're coaches, and You're talking about positional players that's looking at their coach for guidance or whatever it is. But at the same time, it's one of those things where you have to look at the culture too, because as I listened to Brian Poles yesterday, he was talking about the culture is good. The culture is good. Well, I don't know. You done had two coaches fired for HR reasons, and those are the coaches that your head coach selected to be on the staff. So, mm, what is this all this about? And I just hate it because they say HR reasons, but of course, being nosy, I still want to know, like, okay, what's the HR reason for?
Yeah.
What's going on?
Yeah,
What's
Jay,
going on?
the thing about NFL coaches, or just coaches in most sports, but especially NFL coaches, it's not like our job. So don't think of it like our job. We get off our jobs and we go home. We may have friends that we may actually stay in touch with. NFL coaches are not the same.
Right.
These guys may
Absolutely.
sleep in the office,
Right. Right.
so you know who that other coach is. It's not
Right.
like it ain't like they like, hey, we just did this from a little walkthrough from 9 to 1, and I'll see you tomorrow. These
Right.
guys are together all the
All the
time.
time.
It's a
And
real
if you
job.
look at the other coach, I can't think his name right now, Alan Williams.
Alan Williams. Yeah.
He
Yeah.
worked together with Flus in Indianapolis for about 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
So this is not something that he should not have no clue on behavior, whatever those behaviors were. It's hard to believe he had no clue.
Right. Right. Which is what we said, Bernard, earlier in the week when we texted each other, like, it's all about the company you keep.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
But
It's all about the company you
but
keep.
when it comes to like an HR situation, like I said, I'm not gonna go and speculate on anything, because usually what happens with that, there's a meeting, there's an investigation, and then they come up with stuff. I mean, I get what you guys are saying, they can see it, but sometimes I hate to say it, and I'm not trying to categorize it as such, but just say if it's an HR situation, we don't know how people's freak flag is when they outside the job. Some people on some stuff. You could be sitting next to somebody, and then next thing you know, you see the FBI arresting. It's like, man, this dude don't do nothing but bring a peanut butter and jelly sandwich every day, real quiet and nice. They have a reason to keep it on the low. It could be sexual harassment. It could be something about sharing information.
It could be a whole lot of things.
By the same token, I do get that. I get that. But by the same token, a lot of times we don't know how these folks roll, man.
Yeah, right. We don't. That's why I'm not speculating on it, other than I was just like saying.
No, you're right.
I was just saying, just don't think about it like our jobs where we just
right.
And we just spend a few hours. I mean, coaches, NFL coaches, they sometimes sleep in.
But I do get exactly what you mean, though, because it's not like us. We do a 9 to 5. We may do a little overtime. These football coaches will get there at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the morning. On a normal day, on a good day, they're getting out at 6 o'clock in the evening. And during game days and planning, so they're always together. You ask yourself, well, man, I spent all this time with him. It's like I would think that I know him, but
you don't know.
Yeah. Hey, let's move. We had another story that broke this week. Bring that up. The Bears acquired. I'm gonna put this on the side. Bears acquired Montez, right? It's Montez.
Mm-hmm.
Let's look at this. I got part of his press conference.
I mean, you got to pick up shop and find a new home. So it's a lot of emotions that come with that. But I mean, I'm ready for the challenge. I'm ready to meet my new teammates and hit the ground running.
You spend any time here?
Not that I can remember. Besides playing at Soldier Field.
What are the biggest challenges just on a personal life level of getting settled over the next 9 weeks in a new place with a new team with so many things kind of swirling for you?
Yeah, I mean, you got to just put all those variables and intangibles into play, where you want to live, how you want to live, as a single family. I mean, just getting a car up here, getting my wardrobe up here. It's a lot. I mean, you basically just starting all over. So I'm ready.
How big's that wardrobe?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I don't know.
You were talking about some of the rumors that were swirling, keeping your phone close to you. Were you thinking Atlanta was going to be an option for you?
I mean, I knew my agent told me that they was in the talks.
Okay. So anyway, I picked that part of the interview. Hopefully everybody's able to see it who's watching on Facebook and YouTube. Thank you for tuning in. I picked that part of the interview because I have been seeing people saying that he was not happy And that press conference to me, he shared some things that I wouldn't think about because I've never been a professional player, right? He basically saying, "Hey man, I don't even know where I'm gonna sleep at tonight," right? He's called, and then early in the part that I don't have on there, he said he was at a walkthrough when he found out he was traded, and he was at a walkthrough, and he said he was about to get to the walkthrough, and they called him and told him he was traded, and so for us as fans to think he's gonna come sign a contract the next day after he's been traded somewhere. He haven't even met a teammate yet. The ones that he don't know. He haven't been in the locker room. He don't even know where he's gonna sleep at. Why is he thinking about a contract? No, I gotta see if I even like this place first.
There, they gotta sell clicks. They gotta sell clicks. They ask some of the most mundane questions. I'm looking at like, how long have you been a journalist? But from a realist standpoint, you look at somebody that's like the morning prior, you were getting out of your bed in another state. Now everything's completely changed. People make it seem like, oh, it's a business. And yeah, you have to be business-like, but there still is an adjustment. Time zone. There's you waking up to a different place, in a different environment. You got new teammates. You got to learn a book. I hope that this young man comes in and looks at this as an opportunity for him to not only thrive here, but get some money somewhere down the line. But it's a lot. It's a lot. But fingers crossed, this young man, because we need some pass rushes.
Mm-hmm. My thing, as far as is like the trade, and people talk about, oh, we gave up a second round pick. It's a couple of things that go with that. It'll only be, to me, a bad trade if they can't sign them long term.
Right.
Okay. So now we talk about a rental for 9 games. Yeah. That'll be bad. But at the same time, if we can sign him long term, that would be good. Because if you look at it in a rebuild standpoint, you have an established defensive end that can rush the passer. He can rush the passer. And you can sign him to a long-term contract. You gave up a second-round pick. Yes, you did. But were you going to be able to get a second-round pick that's going to match his production if you re-sign him? So the biggest thing is about the re-signing. We already know we got 2 picks in the first round. Everybody talking about, well, we could have had 3 picks in the top 40. Stop being greedy. Stop being greedy. Stop thinking ahead. Stop thinking ahead. Slow down. Y'all know that's my mantra for the last couple of weeks. Everybody that got ahead of themselves. Slow down. And I just think that if we can sign him to a long-term deal, we have an established defensive end and not a second-round pick, but do we know if we was going to get a player in the second round as established as him? So that's how I look at it. I think it could be a good trade only if we can re-sign him. And I actually think that we will. And they brought him in the building because everybody said, well, we could have signed him in free agency. Yeah, you could have. But now if you sign him, if you trade for him and sign him now, you ain't got to worry about the bidding war. So that's how I look at it. That's how I look at it.
Jay, and he's from the Georgia area. And what I understand, Atlanta was making strong overtures towards him. And if he's from that area and he got in Atlanta, you are not about to get him in free agency if Atlanta wanted to keep him.
Sure.
Right? Because he might even agree to stay there for less because this is really where I'm from. I'm from this area. And, I'm assuming it could be the team he actually watched growing up. So they may have advantage of that. So when people say, hey, if he had got into free agency, like you said, you don't know that. In free agency, would you get a chance? There's plenty of people that come in free agency that you never get a chance to talk to because the team that they want to go to gets to them first.
And I also want to address everybody talking about Chase Young. And San Francisco gave up a third round. Chase Young is going to be a rental in San Francisco. He's going to be a rental. They're not going to re-sign him.
No, they don't have money.
First of all, exactly, but they don't have the money. And then, I heard the rumblings about not only his injury history, but his discipline, his discipline as far as on the defense. They say he freelanced a lot. He's a lot like, put it this way, he's a lot like Yannick Ngakoue, which is what I've said a long time ago. All you want to do is rush the passer. You going straight and you rushing the passer. There's no moves. There's no nothing. You're freelancing. And by us getting Montez Sweat, I just think like we got a player that can play, that plays the run well, and he can rush the passer. So, everybody talk about, well, they gave up, they only got a 3 for him. Yeah, they gave up with supplemental 3. San Francisco gave up with supplemental 3. But again, as I said, if we can re-sign Montez Sweat and he's an established defensive end, it's going to be better than any rookie that we could have signed.
Easy.
Yeah. So that's how I look at it.
And then you got to look at the domino effect too. You got a defensive end now. It frees up other guys because this dude's a handful. He's like 6'6". He's 27 years old. I've done like some intel on him and stuff. I haven't heard nothing about any problems. He's just like a pro's pro. And you get that type of guy that comes in, and I know Atlanta would have probably been the first place that he could have gone, but hopefully there's some people that are in his ear, the right people, will tell him like, dude, regardless of what it looked like with the Bears, dude, you're one of the largest markets in the NFL, number one. Number two, the sky's the limit for you. You play well here, the fan base will love you. You could come here and sit your helmet down at the end. Hopefully there's some things, that go into that. They're actually able to tell him. Hopefully he comes in, he does what he's supposed to do. But with all these different things that they talk about Chase Young and stuff like that, man, it's like we want some quality guys. If you're going to start firing coaches, got to be the same thing with the players. You got to build that culture, man, where you got businessmen coming in. You ain't got to worry about nobody at 3 o'clock in the morning with some whatever, Yeah.
Yeah, I heard Brian Mitchell was on the radio talking about him. Brian Mitchell, the former NFL player, and he had nothing but glowing remarks about Montez Sweat. Just even this character, he described him. He was just like, he really described him as like, this a very kind person. And he was like, he kind of like, he's not a real outgoing guy, kind of like soft-spoken. And he was like, man, and he kind of compared them to Chase, and he was like, I'm telling you, got the better of the two people. And
if you pull up the Washington, because that's the first thing I did when they made the trade. Because y'all know I record all the games, so I got all the games on my DVR. So the first thing I did Monday evening when I came home, I'm like, let me pull up this tape. And I actually watched some of the Redskins game, and I'm looking at Montez Sweat. I'm like, okay, you know what? Yeah, we got the better player.
Yeah.
3 years older than Chase Young. That's what people talk about. Oh, well, he's 3 years older. Yeah, but guess what? If you give him a 5-year contract or a 4-year contract, he's still 30, 31, which is still productive. So I'm just looking for them. That's going to be the biggest thing to me. You made the trade, now you got to sign it.
He's a normal 27-year-old. You know what I mean? And by NFL standards, that says a lot because the attrition on your body, he's the type of guy you probably would see would go home, sit up and watch Netflix. He ain't at the club, at the strip club. He ain't out there kicking and partying. He takes his job seriously. And when you look at football age, comparison to a guy that's going out kicking it all the time, he's about 2 or 3 years younger than your average 27-year-old that plays, that's out there partying. So
yeah, and he's never missed a game since he's been
never missed a game. That's never missed a game. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
your best ability is a fake ability.
Yeah,
that's y'all know that's my thing. You got to be available.
Hey, man, Jay, I was looking at a tape, man. One of the games this year. I can't remember which game it was, man. I know we'll move on in a few, but man, he was about to sack a quarterback and intercept the ball. He intercepted as he was about to sack him. He jumped up to sack him. The quarterback threw the ball. He maybe close as I am to this mic almost. Caught the ball. That close to the quarterback. And I think he ran for a touchdown. It was something to that degree. I was like, hold on, that's very athletic to stop in mid-motion of blocking a pass or sacking it and you catch it.
And then and a lot of people talking about, well, he's on the offensive line. He's on the defensive line with a whole lot of first round picks. Well, guess what? He was too. So
Right.
you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I just want Bears fans to realize, again, as I said last week, last year was the tear down. This year is the rebuild. You, unfortunately, I feel like the coach that we have is not in place for the real rebuild, but pump y'all brakes. Pump y'all brakes.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Hey, Jay, you know, you're right.
We are not gonna, as much as we thought the Bears was gonna be this or that, they're not ready yet. And for real, I still think, looking at the Bears schedule, the Bears are gonna win some games. And people are gonna be mad because they're gonna look at it like they won some games. So now we ain't got this draft pick. Now we ain't got this draft pick. The Bears are going to win some games. I don't think they're going to win this week. I'll say that for my prediction. But after this week, if you look at their schedule, the Bears going to win some games.
You know what? So you're right. You are so right, Jay. And you know what? I'm tired of you. Here's the deal. It's not like we go to the playoffs every year. It's not like we going for a chip every year. You're looking at a team that was maybe four some years removed from a fluke 12-4 season. Well, 12-4, something like that.
2018, the 2018 season.
And you see that was 5 years ago, and you see what's been happening since then. It's not like we've had that team. So pump your brakes on the quarterback controversy. Pump your brakes on all types of stuff. Just let the guys do their thing. Every week I hear about fire the coach, fire the GM, get rid of Justin Fields. You got to lose so you can get these people. Man, what I want to see, win, lose, or draw. I would be happy if they played hard and won like about another 3 or 4 games and lost like one of the picks as far as height. I'm good with that because that's something that will carry on to the next season. But by the same token, let's not get it twisted like we're a playoff team, that we've been a playoff team. All this stuff with quarterback controversies, with all these different players, let's look at the good stuff, man. Let's look at Wright and Jenkins on the right side. I wrote something about if you got a problem with a quarterback that can't read defenses or having a problem, cut the field in half. I'd run a whole lot of plays to the right-hand side and let them see if they can stop them 2 dudes. But other than that, man, there's no controversy. It's like either guys are going to be here next year or they're not.
Hey, let me see if I could bring that play up. Hold on.
And I can actually see, as Bernard bring this play up, I can actually see a scenario. Looking at the Bears schedule, the Bears still can actually go 8-9. Yeah. And that's sad to say. It's actually sad to say it, but it's true. It's true. Yeah. It is so true.
The only ones I'm looking at right now that could be really interesting would be the Lions. And
those are the only 2 games. Those are the only 2 games on the Bears schedule that I'm actually predicting that they're gonna lose. Now the other games, can they lose? Absolutely. Yeah, but
1 or 2.
Going against the opponent that they're going against, they could actually win. So,
let's watch this against the Cowboys.
But it is.
Yes, it's against the Cowboys.
Hopefully this play at normal speed, but let me try to run it.
On the other networks, Chiefs and Bucks, Bears and Pack. Here's a play made by the defense for the touchdown. Montez Sweat.
Ooh. He was right in his face, too. He was right in his face.
Yes, Andy Dalton looked like.
That's a big boy.
He was right in his face.
To knock it down, and he ends up picking it off and turning it into a touchdown. What a play.
That's a great athletic play by Montez Sweat. He's another one of these young players that better get used to hearing his name. He's going to be one of the greats in the NFL. What a play by him going up. Jack Del Rio, he doesn't get off the gas. They bring the pressure. And
man.
That's a grown man right there, y'all. That's a grown man. He gonna be a handful, man.
That was okay. That was Dalton. Was that this year or was that
I think that was last year.
Last year,
I think
yeah.
that was last year. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that
Yeah,
was
but that
last
was
year.
against Andy Dalton. But anyway, we got a
Mhm.
question down here. Let's kind of pick up some of the stuff we missed this week. What are the Bears going to do about Jalen Johnson?
Nothing. Well, you know what? I'm gonna go because I know Jay gonna have a whole lot, so I'm gonna make this real quick.
No, go ahead.
You look at the situation, and I think, and everybody can say what they want to say, but truth of the matter is, dude's gonna talk to his agent. He gonna want to get paid. Now you got to ask yourself a question: 4 career interceptions and like only and 2 of them this year. They look at all these numbers and say, oh, he's rated this high and all that stuff. But what our eyes see, we see something different. I'm not saying he's bad, but he's not as good as he thinks he is. I mean, you know. Are we gonna? I got a feeling he's gonna be gone because he's gonna probably go somewhere else. And he said he doesn't want to go to the Eagles. I'm like, man, if you're not gonna get paid, at least go try to support shit. But that's my story. I'm sticking to it. I don't think they're gonna sign him because he's looking for like the $20 million. And yeah,
Kyle Fuller. Y'all remember Kyle Fuller?
I was just thinking that. Yes.
Y'all remember Kyle Fuller? How Kyle Fuller wanted to get paid? What you do is you put the transition tag on Jalen Johnson.
Yeah.
Go out there, get you a contract, see what you're worth, and guess what? Whatever they say you're worth, we gonna match it.
Yep.
You set the market for yourself. Go out there. We're gonna put the transition tag on you, and somebody gonna go out there and they gonna throw a contract at you. And we'll just match that because Jalen Johnson to me is but it's funny because Quick got me on this whole like he ain't this, he ain't that. But then when I actually kind of look at the tape, I'm like, well, yeah, he is this and he is that. So to me, he falls anywhere between the 12 and $14 million range.
I pay him that.
So it's almost like, okay, I'm gonna put the transition tag on. Go out there and see what the market offer you. And if they ain't offering you $20 million a year, if they ain't offering you 16, 15, if they offer you anywhere between 12 and 14, which is what he's worth, I'll match it.
There you go.
Jay,
it's Kyle Fuller all over again.
Yeah, for listening to Poles talk, I do think they want to keep him, and I think they're going to do what you're saying. They're going to use the transition tags. See, a lot of times as fans, we don't really know all the intricacies of negotiation of NFL contracts, so we think just because a player asks for money in the middle of a season that the NFL team has to offer a contract at that point. They do not. You're still under contract. You could kind of moan and cry and say, I want to be traded. And sometimes they may honor that, but they don't really have
Doesn't matter. Right. Doesn't matter.
But if he sounds like he wants you, but he doesn't really want to pay you more than what the market dictates, right. Jay is exactly right. He just on transition tag you at the end of the season and see what the market is so he could pay fair market value. And then at that point, the player sees he actually got offered a good contract.
Right.
You know, because that's what it is too, because I think the other bad thing about Jalen Johnson was I want to say he came into the season without an agent. So he could have been negotiating this a little bit before the season started. Because I want to say he was one of those players too that went his first 2 or 3 years in his career without an agent. But when you don't do that, what happens is you have that void. You have that void going on times when you could have probably negotiated earlier.
And to me, it's one of those things where, you know, Brian Poles, he's kind of interesting. He's kind of interesting because at the same time, I still think he look at these players like these ain't the players that I drafted.
Right.
He's still looking at it like that, but at the same time, you still have to look. If you talk about you trying to build a culture, you're talking about I want my locker room to be this, I want my locker room to be that. Mm-hmm. You're talking about a 24-year-old cornerback that's started 4 years in the NFL. He's a leader in the locker room. If you're trying to build a culture, right, that's something that you need in your locker room. So it's so hard to kind of gauge this as a fan. As a fan, it's really hard because, like you said, Bernard, we can sit here as couch GMs and be like, "Yeah, I'm finna pay him, no matter what." But we don't know what Poles is thinking. But at the same time, as a fan, I'm thinking like, this is a 24-year-old veteran
with a 4-year starter too.
A 4-year starter.
Yeah.
He's a 4-year starter. He's a veteran. You gotta, if you want to talk about your culture in your locker room, you have to keep people like this in place.
Yeah. And you know what? And I had to give him also credit that Jalen Johnson makes himself available. I mean, even for him to commit to like radio stations, to show up on radio shows. And I had to give him credit for being a stand-up guy, because even when they lose, he goes on those shows. And if they got beat bad, he don't make any excuses for it. He kind of like, hey, it was a bad game for us, whatever, right? But he's a stand-up guy from what I can see, because I've seen other Bears players. Matter of fact, I would just name one, Hicks. He was part of that radio broadcast, going on the shows. As soon as they lost the game and they asked him about the loss, he just hung up the phone and would never come on the show again.
Right. See, but that counts as something. And you know what? It's sad that we in this day and age now that we have to give him brownie points for that. But unfortunately, that's the way it is, because guys used to be like that. But now in this day and age, to have a guy, especially knowing that we've been playing bad, we haven't done good this year. It takes a lot, man, as a pro. I mean, you say we're professionals and it's part of your job. I get that. We're paying you all this money, man, but it's tough, man, because you're coming off of a thing where you probably in school and probably never lost more than 3 games and probably your whole career at college. And now you come to a situation where it's lose, lose, lose. That's kind of hard to chew, man. So I give him credit, and I hope we can do something with him, man.
But I can say, if people don't listen to Jalen Johnson is available every Monday at 5:00 on the Score.
Sure
and he gives it to y'all. No, win or lose, injured, whatever. He gives it to you, and that's what I like about it. He talked about his contract last week, and so anytime a player is open and available like that, it's good to hear. You get that information. So Jaden Johnson, Dr. Quick, you would want to talk about. He ain't got no interceptions and all that. And I was drinking your Kool-Aid. Dr. Quick. But then when I stepped back and I looked at it, and I looked at the film, and I'm like, okay, you know what? This guy is worthy of a contract with the Bears.
I have to say,
and it's almost like one of those things. It's like keep your own players.
Right.
Yeah. In this case, I definitely think it's a player you want to keep, and I think I know what he brings is stability in that position, and he's been a loyal guy. And this is not one of those situations to me where I do think Bears fans tend to want to overpay for just favorite players, regardless if they don't play. They could miss 12 games out of 16 games 2 or 3 years in a row, and a lot of Bears fans would swear that player's betrayed if he got traded. No, because he's not actually on the field enough for you to be able to rely on that player.
Right.
But I would say this guy has played through, at one point, he played through some type of hand injury. And, he might have had his nicks and knacks, but as soon as he could play, he would get back on the field.
And, not only that, like I say, if you can re-sign Jalen Johnson and you got Tyreek Stevenson, you got cornerbacks. If you can, for the next 6 years, you re-sign Jalen to a 5-year contract. He's 24 years old. Now you're talking about a 29-year-old cornerback. You got Tyreek Stevenson, who's a rookie on a rookie deal, and he's a 2nd-round draft pick. So he's in the same boat where Jalen Johnson is, where you got 3 more years after this. You have to be able to get something established where you got some continuity. You got to get continuity. And that's the thing. You got to have people that's going to be in place for a long time. And not that you're, this year I got a cornerback. Now next year I'm going to sign a free agent to a 1-year deal and he's going to be that. Get some continuity where you can establish a team that's actually going to be able to grow together and be able to be better at their craft.
Hey, let's move to the Saints Bears game this Sunday. Hey, like Quick said, man, when y'all take y'all butt down there, man, and be trying to take over. hey, James Gilmore. Hey, what's up, James? James said this right at the top of the program that Bears fans are out there.
Yeah, they already down there.
What they doing? Hey,
all my frat brothers down in New Orleans right now. They're all down there in New Orleans. This was the trip that they was taking, so they all down there.
So, hey, so what do we expect in this game as far as the Bears and Saints? I mean, I know they run a 4-man front too. They don't put they don't do a whole lot outside of that 4-man front as far as defensively, but I do expect them to be playing against a rookie quarterback that you're gonna show him a lot of fronts. Ironically, I mean, one of the teams that did not show the Bears fronts, and that was against Justin Fields, was the Washington team, which is ironic, right? That Sweat came from there and they kind of stuck with a 4-man front. But I do think they are going to do everything they can to confuse the quarterback. What do y'all see coming in this game?
Man, they just got to be steady, man. They just got to show up. I mean, we've got our injuries and we've played like we've played, but they're almost like us, but they just got a better record. I mean, if you look at all the stats down the line, we're almost close. And it's like we score exactly the same amount of points a game. It's 21.4. So,
21 points.
you just roll the dice and see what happens. And now you're in New Orleans. So, weather's not a factor, Get out there and just make something happen. Roll the dice and see what goes on. And they give up what? We gave up 28 sacks this year, and they gave up like 21. So we're almost the same kind of team. It's just they fared a little better than us, man. But
they have a quarterback that gets sacked a lot. Career wise, Derek Carr takes a lot of sacks during his career. I mean, it hasn't been as bad this year. Well, he's in the top. I think he's in the top 10 of quarterbacks being sacked.
Yep. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The Bears have not won in New Orleans since 1991.
Ouch. What Hayward? Hayward, they running back there?
Yeah, they have not won a game since 1991 in New Orleans. Ooh. And the Bears have lost, including the playoffs, I want to say the last 6 or 7 games against the Saints. I'm not expecting anything to be different. I'm predicting the Bears are going to lose this game. The question is, what can the Bears do? The Bears can try to run the football. The Saints are, I believe, 7th.
7th, yeah, and they give
overall in defense, or is that just rushing? But the Bears need to try to run the football, keep Tyson Bagent out of situations that they had last week in Los Angeles, where he was second and 13, 3rd and 9. Mm-hmm. They need to be able to control those situations, but I don't think it's going to happen. The Bears probably going to need to go to a silent count. People talk about the Bears take over. The Saint fans are real fans, and they are going to be there, despite who we're playing. Despite how many Chicago fans are there, the Saint fans are going to be in the Superdome, and I don't see it faring well for the beloved.
They're 7th in passing, but defense, but rushing defense are like 15th.
Okay,
like 3rd, but they're also like 32nd in penalties. But you can't really pull the okey doke on them because they fans know what it feel like to walk around in games with paper bags over their head. They used to call them the ain'ts. So they've been there.
And then not only that, like you say, penalties. They're gonna be at home, so that's gonna help them. But I can't see it. I give my prediction as far as the score when we ask for them. But in order for the Bears to win this game, everything is gonna have to go well for them. I'm talking about no penalties. I'm talking about play calling, which is a joke. We've said, it's going to take a lot. It's going to take a lot. So I don't see anything where I could actually think that this Bears team can go into New Orleans and win a game.
Okay. So Jay, it's going to be a difficult task. I definitely agree because they defense. They are going to, I believe, going to get after Tyson Bagent, and the Bears' best chance will be to try to run the ball. And I don't know where the Saints rank running the ball, but Alvin Kamara, he hasn't really been that good this year.
No, he hasn't.
Yeah, he's like averaging like maybe 3.7 or 3.5 yards per carry. That's way under than what you used to seeing him perform at. And matter of fact, I think even their receivers, some of the targets, and it's really not. You'd have seen the fall off over the last few years with the retirement of Drew Brees. But I think the problem that I still see with the Bears is we don't know who the Bears are yet. The Bears still don't have any identity. They could have identity, but they don't want to stick to that identity. That identity is running the ball, but they want to be a finesse team. They don't have that luxury of being a finesse team right now.
We're sixth in rushing, 132.8 yards a game. The Saints are 20th at 106 rushing yards a game. First downs, they're like 13th and we're 16th. So it's like I said, we're almost essentially the same team. And
we're the same team.
It's just like a lot of things have to happen, but then they're playing at home, and
Thank you, Guy. Yeah, I was just getting ready to say that we are the same team, but they are playing at home, and I will tell y'all right now, y'all heard it here on Thursday. On Friday night for the Sunday game. When Taysom Hill comes into the game, he's getting the football. I can't understand how, as I watched the last 3 Saints games, every time he come in the game, he gets the football and he gains yardage. For people not to understand that when Taysom Hill comes on the field, it's going to be a play for him. It's almost like Devin Hester. When Devin Hester came into the game, everybody's like, okay. Or even when y'all, the loser that we got on the team now, Vegas Stones. Anytime he comes into the game, y'all know more than like 9 times out of 10, he's going to get the football. That's the same thing with Taysom Hill. Taysom Hill gets the football every time he comes in the game.
But they ultimately disrespect.
For them not to be able to see that, it's going to be a killer.
That's what's
going to happen.
Hill disrespected us because remember we was running that jet sweep, couldn't do nothing. They turned around, ran a jet sweep, and doggone it ran out the building. I was so mad, man. But it ain't even no guess to Hill. If Hill is in the game, I would just say 11 dudes. I don't even block nobody. Just chase 7.
He's getting the football, whether he's at quarterback and going to throw it, or whether he's lining up as a receiver or a running back. The ball is going to him. And I can't understand why teams don't recognize that.
Hey, Jay, Guy, I know y'all were talking about some of the names that appeared on the injury report. I mean, do y'all have some of those names?
Yeah, I can pair it up.
Nate Davis ain't playing. Jaquan Brisker is on the injury report. He's out. They say it again.
He's still out on the concussion.
I don't know what his injury dictation is this week, but I know he's out. Justin Fields is doubtful, and it was some Tremaine Edmonds. Tremaine Edmonds
is out. And Terrell
is out.
Smith. Yeah.
and Terrell Smith is out. I don't know who's going to play middle linebacker. It may be Sewell that may fill in for Tremaine Edmonds, but the injuries that the Bears have are at significant positions. But at the same time, it doesn't. These injuries doesn't really matter. You know, Jaquan Brisker, he was having an okay season, but it ain't like he, ringing no bells or anything like that. You know, Tremaine Edmonds, he's been okay. He's just been okay. Nate Davis is an injury that I can say out of all the injuries, I will put that one on the top of the list because if and ever we finally get this offensive line to play with the expectations of the players that was gonna be here, it would be good. It would be good. Terrell Smith, he's a backup, so we got a couple of more backups that can back him up. So the injury report, it's okay and it's all right, but the bottom line still is even if these players were playing, I still think it wouldn't matter.
Yeah, and you got in a safety position nowadays, I call it a skill position now, because remember you used to have that safety, it was that goon that just basically going to knock everybody out. Can't do that now because now you're getting guys, these even some of the smaller guys getting in the weight room, they're eating better. You pop a dude now, he bounce off 5 yards and run it in, and Brisker's done some hits and he's done some things and stuff, but by the same token,
I told y'all last week. I told y'all last week. We was at the game a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, you know what? We was looking at each other like, Jaquan Brisker actually think he's better than he really is. you think you're really good, but watching your play on the field, you're not as good as you. Your swagger doesn't match your play, as far as I'm concerned. And I mean, I know this is second year, but at the same time, looking at your swagger don't match your play, dude. So you need to figure it out. So that's another reason why I'm saying like he's out, but Hicks has did just a good of a job as I feel like Brisker has. So I don't feel like we're missing anything there. Now Tremaine Edmonds, he hasn't missed a game, so I'll see what happens. But I think his first name is Noah Sewell. I think.
Noah Sewell. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he can fill in at middle linebacker if that's the person that's going to be. I haven't looked at the depth chart, so I'm just going off script here. But the injuries outside of Nate Davis, they're not really pertinent. And Justin Fields, of course.
Yeah. So what I think the Bears have to do is offensively, they got to be disciplined and avoid all those pre-snap penalties, false starts, and all those type of things. It's going to be loud, so they got to figure a way to make sure they communicate that because they can't afford to be 1st and 15, 2nd and 20,
2nd and 13.
Yeah, that kind of stuff.
Yep.
They gotta be disciplined on those, and whatever they communicate that those snaps are, that the players got to be disciplined. But I am excited offensively to see what they do on the line because as much as people want to malign this line, and look, I saw some tape, man. If think back to last week, Khalil and Joey Bosa literally would both be on the right side and couldn't get no pressure. Okay, we can't expect that over Jenkins and Wright. But when I watched the game again, they literally both would go on the left side. And only one time that Bosa actually came in and got a sack. They even the left side did a great job on those two. So even with that, I'm excited to see if the line until they get Nick Davis that they could continue to do a blocking performance like they did against the Chargers. I'm not saying the Chargers didn't get no pressure all night. They did get some pressure. But they did a good job against two defensive pass rushers who actually lined up on the same side to try to exploit a weakness, and they was handling those guys.
And if I'm not mistaken, Braxton Jones will be back this week. I know Bernard, you was talking about. Larry Warren. He was like, when Bryson Jones got, I think he's gonna be back this week. So
Okay, good.
and actually Larry Warren actually missed a couple of days this week with a personal. That's a whole nother show. I swear we had so many people that's missing practice for personal reasons. I'm just like, oh my God. I understand, but at the same time, it's just like it's becoming a it's becoming a thing. He's like he missed practice for personal reasons. Okay, I get it, but at the same time, I don't get it. But Larry Warren missed practice a couple of days this week, and as Eberflus said, they ramped up Braxton Jones this week, and he's listed as questionable on the injury report, but he's going to play this week. So that'll be a good one.
2 for 2.
Hey, okay, we at the part 2 for 2. Who is your top 2 teams and who are your bottom 2 teams? Those who are watching on Facebook and YouTube, please share your top 2 and bottom 2 in the comment section so we can share it. Oh, who want to go first? Who are their top 2 and who are their bottom 2?
My bottom 2. My bottom 2, the Bears and the Panthers.
Bears and the Panthers. Okay.
Number 1 and number 2 pick, the Bears and the Panthers. Right now, as far as I'm concerned.
Okay. So hey, I'll go with my bottom 2 right now. My bottom 2, I know it's gonna surprise y'all, is the Raiders in New England. Hey, what about you, guy? What's your bottom 2?
My bottom 2 has got to be Arizona and the Raiders.
That's interesting. Hey, what about the top 2s?
I got Miami and I'm gonna say Miami and Philadelphia.
Okay.
I would echo his sentiments and say Miami and Philadelphia as well.
Okay. Hey, one of the Facebook viewers, what are they saying? I can't see that.
Bottom 2. Two bottom Raiders in the Bears.
Yeah, but they fired their coach though, man. You see Devontae Adams out there. I mean, people don't realize, and I know people try to make excuses and stuff, but it makes a huge difference when your players don't really like your coach. It's like they showed the locker room. It's like Jesus came up in there. It's like
they were. I mean, they were straight celebrating. They were straight celebrating. You know. But I mean, the bottom line is, you know, when you're a bad football team, you're a bad football team. And like I told y'all again, I got 5 good ones, 5 bad ones, and 22 in between. So you know, we do the bottom 2 for 2. I put the Bears down there because I just really feel like, as bad as they playing right now, I can't. There's no other. I don't see the Arizona Cardinals on a weekly basis, so I can't put them in the bottom 2. I just know that the Panthers are bad, so I can put them down there. It was somebody else that mentioned somebody else for the bottom 2. Bernard, who's your bottom 2? You said
I put the Raiders in New England.
You said New England, and as bad as New England has played, I haven't seen enough for them to put them in the bottom 2. But I've seen enough for the Bears where I can put them in the bottom 2. So I gotta put them down there. I got to put them down there with the Panthers because the Panthers are just a bad football team. They're rebuilding. They in the first year of a rebuild. We're in the first year of rebuild, but we actually in our first year was a tear down. So now we're in the rebuild, and that's what I want fans to understand. It's the difference between a rebuild and a tear down. A tear down is the first year. That's what it is. The tear down is the first year, and then you start the rebuild. But I digress. And I say my game of the week, of course, is 8:30 Sunday morning, and I'm gonna be at work, and I'm gonna be so mad.
Miami and Kansas City.
That man, Miami and Kansas City game.
Wait,
baby, bye. That's gonna be one. That's my game of the week.
They're in Germany, right?
Yeah. That's my game of the week.
Hey, that's my game of the week too. I mean. That's gonna be nice, man.
Speed. Y'all know I'm loving this. Oh,
Sunday.
I'm loving this.
Hey, you know what? I'm sorry, I want to detour for the game of the week for a second. Man, you know what? As much as I've been disappointed about the Bears, it's one team this year that I've watched I normally don't watch just to get enjoyment of watching them lose. Green Bay. I probably watched about 4 Green Bay games this year just to watch them lose.
And have you noticed? We haven't really even mentioned them on this show this year.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Because guess what? Jordan Love is bad. He's not really good. He's not really good. And now a whole nother show. Because now I'm like, it's a lot of teams starting to tank right now. The Cardinals all of a sudden,
Right.
They benched Joshua Dobbs, who is a hard try guy, which is why I like him. He tries so hard. Now they can trade him. They starting the rookie. The Raiders starting the rookie. So now everybody is trying to tank.
Yeah, and if you look at Washington pretty much tried to, you got rid of both of your pass rushers.
Yeah.
To try to ensure, and your quarterback is, your quarterback lead the league in being sacked. He's got sacked more than any quarterback in the league this year.
So I guess Ryan Rivera gonna be on somebody's talk show next year, huh?
Oh yeah, it's all over. It's all over. But the writing was on the wall to me, as far as I'm concerned, as far as Washington goes. The writing was on the wall once they got new ownership. They came in. They came in like, okay, you know what? We're gonna roll with this. But guess what? we finna chop this all up. So I'm not surprised. But Bears fans talking about, oh, we're gonna lose draft picks. No, we ain't gonna lose draft picks because a lot of teams are thinking the same thing that our fans are thinking. Like, we're gonna lose games so we can get a top 5 or top. Guess what? Everybody doing the same thing. The Cardinals, when they announced that they was benching Joshua Dobbs before the trade, I was like,
man.
I was like, they benching him? Why? Because everybody's starting to tank. Everybody's starting to tank. They think Kyler Murray may play, makes no difference. They did get this dude a $230 million guaranteed contract, and now they tanking because everybody want Caleb Williams. So it's the NFL. Not for long. Not for long. Not for long.
Hey, y'all ready to go to the predictions, or something else y'all want to cover before we?
We can go to predictions as far as I'm concerned. My prediction.
Hey, we'd like to thank everybody who watched tonight watch on YouTube and Facebook. Please hit the subscribe button. Subscribe to Bears Banner. Man, we need we had picked up a few more subscribers this week. So we need about 14 subscribers right now to get us to that magic 700 number. Okay.
There you go.
What you got, Jay?
There you go. Saints 21. Bears 6.
Lord have mercy.
Okay. I got
y'all like, damn. You like, for real? Yeah.
I have
21-6.
I have the Bears 14, the Saints 28.
All right, 23-10 Saints.
Oh, okay. So let's recap. Bears, Guy has the Bears losing 23-10.
Yeah, man.
Jay has the Saints winning 21-6. Oh, 2 field goals.
Ain't gonna even score a touchdown. They ain't gonna even. And actually, that's sad for me to think that, because DJ Moore has had a career when he was with the Panthers. He's had a career in New Orleans, but Tyson Bagent, the crowd, the Saints defense, I just don't think it's gonna happen. Of course, y'all know. I hope I'm wrong, but yeah, I don't think the Bears are even gonna sniff it. It's gonna be 2 Cairo Santos field goals, 21-6 Saints.
Yeah, and I have them 28-14. Jay, I agree with you, and I hope that don't happen. I want the Bears to win, but I'm just looking at it that they just haven't really gotten the groove, and it's a rookie quarterback in a hostile situation. And I'll give Tyson Bagent a lot of credit that he's actually played quite well based on the circumstances.
As a
Yeah,
rookie,
rookie,
from a
Yeah,
D2
he's doing
school,
great.
absolutely.
Correct. You cannot hold him to the same standards. I know I've been going back and forth with people. Look, I mean, I ain't trying to compare, but I'm just gonna put it as in the reality of it. Justin Fields' first 2 games probably was far worse than his starts. I think his first start, he got sacked like 9 times.
9 times against Cleveland. Yes, he
That's
did.
not to say he's better or worse. I'm just saying that rookie starts could be disastrous, and they've actually looked functional. But I think in this game, the reality comes in that they may, like Jay may be right on point. They may not even get a touchdown. Because I mean, I'm assuming the Saints is going to throw everything they can, because now you got 2 games of film on the quarterback as a starter, and I think they're going to do everything they can to disrupt the Bears, and the Bears got to stay ahead on the sticks and everything else. They can't make mistakes. They can't give them second opportunities. They have to be perfect on 3rd down. I just don't see them playing after another week of chaos with the coaches and everything else. I just don't seem. I just think they're gonna be unprepared. Like Fluston had a couple of games where it looked like they haven't even practiced.
Yeah, again, just like the Chargers game last week, you started out behind the sticks, and once you start out behind the sticks, everything goes downhill from there. And this Bears team is just not built to be able to come back from something like that. So if you can get a lead and play ahead like they did with the Raiders, and now you got the lead and you're able to you're able to impose your will on the team, you got a chance. But I just don't see that this week. I just don't see it this week.
Hey, I got a joke that's just as bad as we were playing. Why don't bears eat clowns?
Why's that?
Because they taste funny.
Because they taste funny.
I heard this little 9-year-old kid tell that joke, and I was trying not to laugh. It was so corny, but I said I gotta bring it to the show. But hey,
okay. Hey, so we'll see y'all. This is a noon game, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll see y'all approximately about 3:30 on Sunday, and hopefully we're actually talking about a Bears victory.
A Bears win. Hopefully.
Yeah,
that would be nice.
It'll be real nice. So until then, peace.
Peace.